In Chapter 2, we examine and analyze how social issues become policy. First, we have to diagnose the context, which shapes policy reforms throughout history and in contemporary America. We next have to look at the contextual factors that include cultural, economic, institutional, social, sequencing of events, legal, and political. By understanding these contextual factors, we can examine them next on two sides, the constraints and the opportunities that led to and/or impede policy reform. By understanding contextual factors, we can understand how and why certain policies, like the Americans with Disabilities Act, ended up being enacted. Next, we identify the three kinds of policy advocacy, which are micro, meso, and macro. Policy advocacy is practiced by social workers when they assist those looking for social programs that can benefit them. This is also called case advocacy or patient advocacy. Mesopolicy advocacy is practiced through modifying policies of certain social workers' agencies, and macro policy advocacy is practiced through advocating for policy change at the government level. The next step in policy advocacy is to use ethical reasoning to decide wrong and right. Using ethical reasoning also allows social workers to determine if an issue is being addressed in a way that helps vulnerable populations or ends up hurting them. This is also used when studying history to understand if issues were addressed ethically or unethically by the past governments and the institutions. There are three approaches to practicing ethical reasoning. First is an outcomes approach. Did a policy negatively impact a group? Second is the first ethical principles approach. Did a policy violate an accepted ethical principle, such as honesty, freedom, self-determination, confidentiality, not killing, due process, fairness, or social justice? And the third is a relativist approach. Did a policy agree with the norms or the culture of a time period and location? Ethical reasoning is also used to determine the ethics of social justice. Finally, we discuss the steps that policy advocates have to take to shape social policy. 1, deciding what is right and wrong. 2, navigating policy and advocacy systems, so going through governments, organizations, or individuals. 3, place an issue on a key lawmaker's policy agenda. 4, analyze the issue or the problem. 5, develop a proposal, so basically a who, what, when, where of the issue, the situation. 6, get the proposal enacted. 7, get enacted proposals implemented. And finally, to start again if necessary.